To the passing crowd in ancient Israel, she was a ghost walking among the living, a shadow, a failure. In a world where a woman's worth was measured by the fruit of her womb, she was a withered vine in fertile soil. Her name was Hannah. For years, her identity had been stripped away, replaced by a suffocating silence, not the silence of peace, the silence of absence, the silence where a heartbeat should have been. Every night, Hannah lay awake listening to the sounds of a living house, children laughing, feet running across stone floors, mothers singing lullabies in nearby rooms, and beside her, silence. But Hannah did not suffer quietly. She shared her home and her husband with another woman, Peninnah, a woman whose fertility echoed through the house like a trumpet of victory. Every morning, Peninnah paraded her sons and daughters through the courtyard like trophies, making sure Hannah never forgot what she could not become. And slowly, the silence began to eat her alive. Every year, the family journeyed to Shiloh to worship and sacrifice before the Lord of Hosts. For Israel, it was a sacred celebration. For Hannah, it was torment disguised as tradition. Her husband, Elkanah, loved her deeply. In his eyes, she was treasured. At the feast, he would place a double portion before her, trying desperately to fill an emptiness he could not heal.
Hannah, why do you weep? Why don't you eat? Why is your heart sad? Am I not worth more than 10 sons to you?
But love could not silence the whispers. Love could not stop the staring eyes. And love could not stop Peninnah. Because year after year, Hannah's rival provoked her cruelly, deliberately, relentlessly. Every insult was calculated. Every smile carried poison. One of Peninnah's little boys ran into her arms. "Mother," Peninnah laughed softly, holding him close. And the sound of that single word hit Hannah harder than any blade. Living in that house became a slow poison. Every morning carried another reminder, another humiliation, another silence. And on this night in Shiloh, something inside Hannah finally broke. The air felt heavy, electric, dangerously close to collapse. Hannah pushed her plate away, rose from the table, and walked alone into the darkness. Because deep inside, she knew one terrifying truth. If she did not encounter God tonight, the darkness would consume her completely. Hannah stumbled into the courtyard of the tabernacle and collapsed near the doorpost of the temple. The cold stone pressed against her trembling hands, and the agony inside her was too massive for words. If Hannah spoke her pain aloud, she feared she would scream. And if she started screaming, she might never stop. So instead, her lips moved silently. No sound came out. She was pouring her soul directly before God. Not polished prayers, not religious language, just raw grief, raw desperation, raw surrender, and there, in the terrible silence, Hannah made a vow, a terrifying vow.
O Lord of hosts, if you will indeed look upon the affliction of your servant and remember and not forget me, but give your servant a son, then I'll give him back to you all the days of his life.
Suddenly, a shadow fell across her trembling body. It was Eli, the high priest of Israel. But he did not see a broken woman. He saw a disturbance, a nuisance, watching her lips move without sound. He reached a reckless conclusion.
How long will you go on being drunk? Put away your wine.
The air froze. The spiritual leader of the nation had mistaken deep prayer for disgrace. Hannah stood at a crossroads. She could shrink back in humiliation or defend the dignity of her pain. Slowly, she lifted her tear-stained face and looked the high priest directly in the eyes. "No, my lord. I am a woman deeply troubled in spirit. I have drunk neither wine nor strong drink, but I have been pouring out my soul before the Lord. Do not take your servant for a worthless woman." Eli stared at her, and suddenly the harshness in his face disappeared, because now he saw it. The fire of genuine faith, the kind born only through suffering. He lifted his hand over her and spoke gently.
Go in peace, and may the God of Israel grant your petition.
And in that exact moment, before the miracle happened, before a child was conceived, before circumstances changed, something inside Hannah changed first. The war ended. The striving ended. The torment ended. Nothing around her had changed. The stone floor was still cold. Peninnah was still waiting at home. But somehow, the silence no longer felt empty. It felt holy. Hannah stood up. She ate. And for the first time in years, her face was no longer sad. She finally realized God's silence had never been abandonment. It was preparation. And in the course of time, the silence of Hannah's womb shattered beneath the cry of a newborn son. She named him Samuel, because I asked for him from the Lord. But Hannah did something extraordinary. When the boy was weaned, she returned to the same tabernacle, stood before the same priest, and fulfilled her vow. She handed her only son back to God, not as a tragedy, but as worship. Because Hannah's barrenness had never been punishment. It was a divine setup. Samuel would become the prophet who would guide Israel into a new era, anoint kings, and change history forever. And maybe that is the lesson hidden inside Hannah's tears. We live in the agony of waiting. Waiting for healing, waiting for breakthrough, waiting for answers, waiting for God to speak. And sometimes, his silence feels unbearable. But Hannah's story reminds us, silence is not rejection. Delay is not denial. Sometimes, God is preparing something greater than we can see. So when life pushes you to your breaking point, do not let bitterness speak louder than faith. Pour your soul out before the one who holds your story. Because some of heaven's greatest miracles are born in the quietest prayers. The silence that once broke Hannah became the very place where God prepared a prophet.